everyone, John here from School of Trade. Today we're going to be taking a look at a flag pattern breakout here, short on the S&P, getting a couple of our fills here. 81.5 is going to be our entry short. The stop is going to be nice and small. We're just going above the highs here. I don't want that to go any farther against us. Now, in terms of the objective area for this trade, we're primarily looking for price to go back down to the lows. We are getting a retest of the flag. I'm getting a little bit early. Just getting in a little bit early based on a couple different things. The EMA, we already saw rejection in this area coming off, obviously, big old wick on the highs, followed up with a nice bear candle. So we know the sellers are coming in, but also, if we look backward a little bit here, we can also see that, well, this whole area has been an area of support or resistance. So I want to make sure to get in, even if it's a little bit early. I don't anticipate it going much higher. So entry for me, 81.5. You could have got filled a couple more ticks high in the move, but this is good enough for me. 5 contract short. Now we're looking back down to the lows. So the overall first objective is going to be a push back down to the lows. 75.5 is the low right now. So keeping that in mind, we do have some larger support at 76.25 that we've been talking about in the chat room. So with 76.25, that's going to be our first objective. So we will go there. We'll take 3 contracts off there, and we'll front run it by a little bit. 76.25 is the exact level. Those levels generally do trade through, so I'm not going to front run it by a ton, but 76.5 should be okay there. After that, then we're going to be looking for a possible measured move down. So the measured move down off of this initial spike lower doesn't give us a huge amount more profit, but that does at least give us a little bit of extra on the way down. Technically, it's at 74. We will front run that a little bit up to 74.75. So from our entry point down to our first target here, we have support right there. That's going to be a 5-point target, and then underneath that, we're looking at a final target of 6.75 points. So lots of profit potential built into the trade, especially considering the fact that we're only risking 2 points on it to make 5 just on the first target. It's exactly where we want to be in terms of risk reward. We're in the exact place that we need to be looking for a short. Now we just have to wait for it to actually go short. So right off the bat, it's early, right? We're not even at 7:30 yet, let alone everything else. We do have some news coming out a little bit later at 8:30. That's really about it. So, we're pretty early. I'm not anticipating this dropping all in one move, but we have been nice and bearish all morning. We got a little bit tied up here, and this might just be a big flag on a larger time frame, but that broke down. We saw them try to come back to it, and they dumped off of that low. So now we're just looking to kind of follow that move up with another press down. So 74.75 is going to be the final objective that we're looking for. It may go a little bit farther than that, but again, being a little more conservative, it's just how I trade. Can't help it. So 74.75 is going to be the final target. 6.75 points there. 5-point target is the next one back to the low. So give it a little bit of time here and see if we can get this thing to grind lower. All right, we're seeing another breakdown here. We had a little bit of a doji. I tightened my stop up to 1 point negative instead. Seeing this little bit of confusion, lots of wicks on the lows. I don't want to see this come back on us. So we're sitting up in a beautiful area. We're 1 tick away from our target. Just need a little bit of extra follow through. Again, we do have support at 76.25. I'm anticipating that getting traded through. So a front run by only 1 tick to 76.5 is okay. We should be able to get away with that. Folks at front run farther than that in this case, you got your target filled. We tested our target, no fill yet, so that's the good old S&P for you. It doesn't, it almost never fills you on the first test. So we got our test of the target at 76.5, no fill. Because we have tested the target, I want to reduce my risk, and I really don't want to see price go above this doji anymore. So I'm going to lock the stop into a profitable situation here. There we go. We get filled, drop the stop down to 2 contracts. Wonderful. So now we got our stop in profitable territory. We've only got 2 contracts left. We got a good chunk of profit locked in. We're looking for a final push through the low of day, through our support area at 76.25. Now that we've got that bounce off of there, but we do need to see it break down, and that breakdown should lead to a little bit of a stop run lower, getting 74.75, hopefully without much of a problem. Right now, the primary objective on the minds of the sellers is going to be just getting back to the low of day. Now, with that support front running it a little bit at 76.25, it's kind of a twofold scenario. We need to see them break both of them to get that breakdown. Now, I'm not anticipating much further movement underneath that. This is a major area of support. So when we trigger through 76.25, which we just tested it now to the tick, After it slides through, if it starts to pop back higher again, there's a good chance that you could see a deep correction, maybe even all the way back up to that prior low of day at 92.25. It's definitely possible. We saw some congestion there before. There may still be some orders waiting there that didn't get filled on this earlier press. So if we get underneath 76.25 and we stay under 76.25, we should be clear sailing to the downside. But if they fail, then we might just turn this thing right back around and go back up. So just remains to be seen. But as of right now, we've got that first target filled. Now we're just looking for the next push down to get the second one. So we have an exact double bottom on the low, which isn't exactly what you want to see when you're looking for a break through the low of day, but that will get more buyers interested. So with more buyers interested, that means that there's going to be more stops underneath the low. So if we do get a run through that low, chances are we're going to be able to get something a little bit more than 74.75. So I'm going to go down to 74. It's only a 3-tick difference, but I'm anticipating a stop run underneath this low if we can crack underneath that. And that should be right around 2 points is usually a relatively standard breakdown. It might go a little bit farther, it might go a little bit less. And if it does go less, then we'll move our target up a little bit and take it out where we can get it. But that will move it to a 7.5 point target instead. Just a slight difference based on what we're seeing right now. It makes sense that if they do break through this low, it'll likely be more of a stop run situation. We're getting 1 tick underneath it. We haven't hit those stops yet. Now they're starting to trigger. And you can see initially it only went that 1 tick through and didn't really do anything. And even this hasn't really done anything. It's just kind of laying in wait. Typically what that means is the buyers are attempting to defend this low, but there will be stops underneath here that haven't been triggered yet. I'm looking for them to get triggered. So our target down at 74 is right at the measured move down of this flag pattern, along with a little bit of a stop run through the low, which is still anticipated. I don't think we've gotten the stops yet. It hasn't really bursted like we're looking for. So we'll give it a little bit more time here. If this does end up wicking down and closing up as a strong green candle, we'll close it early. The bias in that case will have shifted completely, and we were wrong. So getting a little bit greedy can sometimes bite you. I just don't think we've hit the stops yet. So I think the sellers still have a little bit of work cut out for them to try to push through this low. And if they can find those stops down here, you should see a slide through 74, maybe even a little bit farther. Because they haven't gotten those stops yet, honestly, you could even go down to maybe about 73. It depends on where they find those stops to try to push this down a little bit farther. So 73, I'm not going to go any farther than 73 because that's already past the measured move. We're right in that area now. I'm just trying to anticipate at least where, if they do catch the stop run, where the stop run's likely to go. So we're just kind of keeping an eye on this area at the moment. They're trying to break down. They haven't gotten it yet. So looking for them to see if they can find those stops. And if they can, break down to our target at 73. All right, so we still haven't found the stops yet, and we've got about a minute left on this candle. It's still relatively strong, but within a minute, that can change quite a bit. So I need to see them do it now within the next, 40, 50 seconds. Okay, yeah, there they are. And we got them filled. Awesome. So that was the stop run that we were looking for. I was going to say they need to do it now. Otherwise, where this candle closes, we'll likely just exit early. But that was the stop run that we were looking for, just that big push. And you can see a drastic difference when they're grinding through the lows and they're just trying to pick away. They're not getting it. When they finally get it, you get that bam, and then they slam through it, and that's what we were looking for. So we got our target filled. Got a little bit greedy on that final target, but using that stop run information to our advantage, that got us a fill down at 73. So a little bit better than we were looking for initially, and overall that's 1,600 on the trade. Now, if you're not familiar with the S&P, it ticks at 1250 a tick, so that's 128 ticks on the trade. Beautiful move down, exactly what we were looking for, and with that stop run information, I think we played it like a fiddle. So that's going to do it for me. Beautiful flag pattern. If you have any questions about it, feel free to send an email to School of Trade. Don't forget to check out our trial at schooloftrade.com, and as always, we'll catch you next time.